So you asked about the Vision 2060. First of all, I think you don't talk of something that you are thinking to establish without having a clear analysis of what you want really to establish. So I feel the president is trying to kind of, there are these games, they try to cover the problems that are coming by trying to show us now we are even moving ahead. Nobody has done an analysis of what we achieved in 2030. What were the lessons learned? Has he had a team that has learned the lessons learned? And these lessons are the ones we want now to advance in order for us to come to the 2060. Or is there something that is being covered so as for us now to start focusing on how we are going to Singapore, or we stopped going to Singapore? I don't know where we are going now, because they realize we won't get there with the current problems that we haven't even resolved, or the lessons that were learned from 2030, which we need to factor in the 2060 vision. Mm-hmm. So first of all, who are the people who sat down to come up with that strategy? Because we are being told we are going there 2060, but now I'm going to form a team that is going to tell us how to get there. For me, that I see as misplaced priority right now. And at the same time, I see as something that was premature. It needed to be very well articulated by the experts to tell us these are the lessons that we have learned, and these are the strategies we want to use for the next move, and it will take us up to 2060.
All right. Is it a political tool, like a campaign, and should it be?
Beyond the political tool. This president is a puppet. He's a puppet of the colonizer. He's a puppet of the World Economic Forum. And I would advise every Kenyan to have a look at what the World Economic Forum is. It constitutes a group of unelected persons who make up world policies about digitization, land use, and that is why they have affordable housing. They're having affordable housing in Seattle. The worst case scenario in the US for housing is right there. And we have a slum in Kibera. And this president tells us, we'll have affordable housing and therefore we'll have good housing. Excuse me, which slum have you seen go down? Using his affordable housing nonsense with respect to him. But he's told, engage that. There is not a single project, not a single thing that he mounts that is his own. He has to get the blueprint, and he has an approval. And he went to South Africa, he went to France and tells the world that we want to have a new financial blueprint for the world. Excuse me, where is it? What does he do instead? We have De La Rue having the same colonizer coming over, taking over, printing our own money, and we do not have our own independence. We do not have a president that has a sense of patriotism. What is being patriotic? How did he come up with this Vision 2060? Excuse me, wait. Have a look at Vision 2060. Somalia has one. Go to the portal for 2060. Just do a good, a search. 2060, Vision 2060. That is where the colonizer wants to take the world. They who wield power in the world. That is where they want to. And I've always said there's an apex. And I'm not doing this, for those people. I'm just saying that right at the top, there are people who want to dictate how the world should be. And they want to have a dictatorship. And if you go back in time, you will see in the 1930s, you had technocracy as a form of governance that they wanted to have in place. Now this is playing out real time as we watch. Technocracy is playing out in South Africa. And you have all these NGOs that are being funded by the same people who are now the puppet masters of this president, telling them, the South Africans, chase out the rest of the Africans. Chase out them from South Africa. But what do they want? They want to merge South Africa, Namibia, and Australia as one unit. Now you have Vision 2060. You ask this president, so how did you come up with that? Where did you get these from? And why wait. Why didn't we have Vision 2050? Give us 25 years from now, or Vision 2051, so that we have 25 years, planning time. Why Vision 2060? This is a blueprint that is given by the colonizer. And it entails, and I beg the Kenyan people to dig up what it entails. When you dig up, you will find it talks about land use. That land use means that you do not have private ownership of land. Private ownership of land. That is the end game. That means that you do not own private land. Secondly, that your own individual rights are diminished, that you have a monolithic state that is supposed to be, in Elon Musk's words, his own words, is that you will have free basic income, high basic income, because they want to have AI. And every doctor in this country that is out there applauding and lauding AI, telemedicine and all of that, I promise you, your job is gone. Your job is going. I don't know which is this person that can celebrate the guillotine being on your neck and you see it going on. That is where we are headed to.
Okay.
Familiarize yourself with Vision 2060. This is a colonizer's puppet. He does not have a vision of his own, and that is why we are being railroaded into a debt system. And so that everybody then can be in debt, and we're told, oh, you Kenyan people, you owe, as a congregation, as a conglomerate, you owe this amount of money, and therefore, you are our slaves. We are going to liquidate you.
Asante sana wakili. Fomba, is there a risk of having this discussion in an election year?
Kenya has been going through different economic development phases. And it's not necessarily supposed to be attached to an election. No, we are politicizing everything, but Vision 2060 is about development. Like you see, 2 years after independence in 1965, we came up with the sessional paper number 10 that focused on high potential areas in terms of development. Then fast forward, 2012, we had the sessional paper number 8 that came up with addressing the inequalities, especially in respect to arid and semi-arid lands. President Mike Kibaki, in 2008, came up with Vision 2030 because he realized that the way the world is advancing, we say we are in a global village. So we cannot live in isolation. We must be competitive with what else is happening outside there. We need to know, we need to benchmark and know what is happening. And you see, Vision 2030 was so much in line with the MDGs and eventually the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, which are in line with the United Nations targets. So if we have worked towards 2030, and 3 years from now we'll be at 2030, do you think we should just wake up in 2030 and say that now we want to have a fresh, another leap forward in terms of economic development without a plan in advance? So I think this is the right time. And the subtle message that the president also sent is that if we are getting into this challenge of developing our nation, what kind of leadership are we supposed to have? And that's why people who are illiterate and semi-literate are not supposed to have space at the top. Someone who is at the age of 61 years and he wants to lead us and he has 1 degree all this time, being defined by the academic credentials someone got at the age of 24. That's not acceptable. That means that we are properly led right now by someone with a PhD, and his deputy is a professor.
According
and
to
that's
our
the kind of friend we are supposed to have in terms of leadership.
According to our constitution, it does not require a PhD for you to be president.
There are constitutional requirements, and then there are real implied expectations of how we are going to run our country in terms of economic
progress. Are we setting
progress.
new standards for being president?
We need to have people who are well equipped with the right knowledge in the dynamic, in the world that is changing right now, because if you have people who are incompetent at the top, then eventually the country will lag behind other countries. This world is competing, and we need to benchmark with the best, and we must also ensure that we put the best leadership at the top.
Finally, Bernard.
Thank you, Fred. I actually have a different perspective from Daktari here and Wakili. This is my take. It was 2006, around October, to May 2007, when there was public participation, proper public participation around the Vision 2030, which is supposed to end in 3 years. This was happening right after 2005, when Kibaki forced this country with a document when he called Amos Wako and a few teams, sent them to Kilifi, to rewrite what Kenyans had participated in and agreed on in Bomas. But we didn't see the kind of backlash we are seeing. This is what we call entitlement of Mount Kenya. When it was then, the whole country voted, and Kibaki came out and said, I am defeated. Kenyans are on that side, I am on this side. Yeah? That is 2005. But 2006, he ushered the country into development of Vision 2030. And Kenyans participated. This is why we miss Raila Odinga. Even though he was at loggerhead with Kibaki, he didn't come out to start preaching to us the things I hear being preached here. He said, this is a vision for the country. We have to participate. We have to put our thoughts into it. And we all put our thought into it, and we have Vision 2030. So Vision 2030 is supposed to end in 3 years. The president is calling all of us as a country that the vision we had is ending. Should we start preparing and consolidate our voices into what we close our eyes and see ourselves as a country?
Where's your audit?
Wait.
Where's your audit?
Can
2030.
Can you
All right,
wait?
gentlemen,
I was
our time is
square.
up. Our time is up.
Oded is right. Oded is 100%
So,
right.
president is
Give me
calling.
the audit.
Wait.
We should not be selective.
Can you just
Wakili.
wait,
We
Wakili?
cannot be selective.
So
Our
we
time
are
is up.
here. We are here.
Special.
We are here. The president only called us that I had called a team, and this team has prepared something for the country
Under whose
to
instruction?
start. Can
Yes.
you?
Of course, he's elected as the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Did you ask Kibaki that?
Let's allow him.
That's his
Wait,
responsibility.
Fred.
Finish.
Did you ask Kibaki that?
I didn't ask.
Because he
We
was
didn't ask
coming
Kibaki
from-
that question.
No.
That
And
is
this time
the-
around, because
that
William
is
Ruto
what
want
we
to ask
call
the question.
entitlement.
That is it.
Because
Finish.
now President
finish your
William Ruto is calling
We're
us
out of time.
as a country.
Yes.
And before we even look at the document which has been prepared, we have started. Why don't we go on the table and say,
All
as
right.
a Kenyan, I think we should start with auditing the Vision 2030.
Yes.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
we go this way.
Yes,
but
and
here you are backlashing
Thank you.
under
Thank
whose
you.
order?
Even
Simply
before looking
because
at it.
he is William
Thank
Ruto
you,
is
Mesha
not Mwai
Kodede.
Kibaki.
Yeah.
That is what we call entitlement.
Thank
and
you.
some of us are not going to condone this.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Allow me, we're out of time, unfortunately. Thank you so
Where
much,
is
Mesha
the-
Kodede.
much.
Special
Allow me to
Too
acknowledge
much.
you.
It's too
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
from our
Lady,
end.
Double
ladies
standard,
and gentlemen,
double standards.
allow me to acknowledge you. Asanteni sana. Mesha Kodede, political commentator, former NC, former political analyst. Dr. Sarah Mwakyuna Nti Kilemi, PhD, governance and leadership expert, and of course, Harrison Kinyanjui, advocate of the High Court. Thank you so much for your time at TV47 this morning. And I like the way you ended the show.
Yeah.
On a high.
That's-
That is how we should be ending the show. After the break,